everybody to another online Bible study. And this is really near and dear to our hearts because we're in a series on wholeness, dealing with spirit, soul, and body. And I am blessed, and really, we're in for a treat with certified personal trainer and nutritionist. So not only get you right in the gym, but get you right in the kitchen. Ashley Clarke, who is just going to join us for a conversation where we're going to be talking about wholeness and fitness. We believe at the outlet it's important to thrive in your spirit, your soul, and your physical body. And for me, this is an area that I am a student. I want to learn, I want to grow. I think it's a great time of year to bring you in, Ashley, as we're getting ready to go in the holiday season. And, we're already thinking about just what the menus are going to be in that 30-day stretch. So it's extremely excited to be here. Thank you for just joining me tonight for this discussion on wholeness and fitness.
It is my pleasure. I'm excited to be here. And absolutely, I am thinking about what's on the menu too, but how I can strategize and still stick with what my goals are, stay healthy for me and my family. The biggest thing that I like to focus on is just that wellness is not about a physical outcome in terms of aesthetics, but really just keeping us as our best selves for longevity, to be better for our people, for our family, and for ourselves.
I mean, we already coming out the gate, ready to go. This is going to be a great night. So just how we have this rolled out, Ashley is going to really share just from her heart some tips that she's been able to cultivate and curate for us on this evening. But this is where I think the treat is. After we go off of the live stream, you could join us on Zoom and be able to ask Ashley questions one-on-one, things that, as she's talking, or things that you may have had on your mind. You get the opportunity to ask a, licensed personal trainer, licensed nutritionist, just get an opportunity to, get some real wisdom and, not go off of, family fables and just ancient rituals, but actually get some information and science behind how we can live and eat in a way that brings glory and honor to God. So before we get into tonight's content, Ashley, what led you to kind of go down this route? Were you always one that was inclined to personal training and nutrition, or was there an event that just kind of was the catalyst or the defining moment for you? Like, what led you to actually doing this?
So it's a long but short story of how I got to it. I've honestly never been into fitness or eating right until I was in college. I enjoyed everything else but fitness. I would go fast food every single day and never stepped foot into a gym until I was diagnosed with hypertension. I was 18 years old. I went to the doctor's office, regular checkups, and they were telling me that, your blood pressure is high. It was in the 140 over 100 range, like borderline, about to have a stroke type of pressure. And they wanted to monitor it for a little bit. They were telling me, maybe we'll put you on a water pill. We'll see how it goes. Fast forward about 6 months later, I'm still having high blood pressure. Mind you, I was not what anyone from the outside looking in would think was overweight or obese, or anything of those medical descriptors. I just happened to have genetics on my side, but that wasn't what I wanted to be the end all be all. The doctors told me genetics was what it was. I do have high blood pressure on both sides of my family. And that it is what it is. We'll put you on some medicine and you'll be just fine. But I was very close with my grandmother. I watched her go through that, and she ended up having to have open heart surgery when I was 10 years old, passed during surgery. And that was that was kind of a marker in the back of my head early on that I don't want to end up at a point where I am needing medicine or anything like that in order to keep my heart doing what it's supposed to do. So them telling me I'm on blood pressure medicine was like a death certificate right there. And I was like, no, this is not going to happen. I got to figure out something else. So I really honestly went all in from that point on what can I do myself to get things right. So I started eating more whole foods. I stopped, not Whole Foods, the store. That was not in my budget, but eating more foods that I cooked. I stopped doing fast food on a regular basis, and I really went all in from there. And fast forward about 5 years after that original diagnosis, I moved down to Atlanta from Virginia. I found a doctor that believed in holistic methods and wasn't trying to keep me on medicine for the long haul. She wanted to monitor how things were doing. We weaned me off of the medicine based on how I was progressing with my fitness and nutrition. And I've been, since that date, I'm now 5 years clear of any medicine.
Wow. Praise God. And I think what stands out to me is you said when I was 18, you didn't say when I was 48, when I was 58, when I was 68. And then you also said that you didn't have the look of someone that you would think would have hypertension as well, and that it was a genetic predisposition that led you to, I guess, that point at a more expedited rate.
Right.
But, to God be the glory, 5 years free from any of those type conditions. And I can appreciate how you came from that particular moment to now use that to help others from going down the wrong road, nutrition wise. I want to ask you, in your estimation, and I know a little bit about your home church back in Virginia, so good family upbringing. They kept you in the way. Hallelujah. So you have that piece. I'm sure there's a lot of Christians or people who of faith that you interact with. What have you seen overall as it relates to the relationship with faith and fitness?
It seems to be kind of two ends on the spectrum, to be honest. And I always wonder, especially now that I'm in Atlanta, I see it more so blended in our spaces because it's more of a metropolitan area. So it makes sense. Many of the churches are on a large mainstream audience, so it is very much integrated. But oftentimes, I would say from more old school churches, it can kind of be seen as a vain thing in terms of focus, and you're only worried about fitness for looks, and it really has nothing to do with anything else. And I kind of see the direct contrast of that in regards to the foods that are brought in at church. After every service, there is a repast, and New Year's we have pig feet, chitlins, all the fixings for good luck for the year. Has always been a little bit of an oxymoron.
You're not gonna come for our black eyed peas now.
Black eyed peas with all the fixings. Mm-hmm.
You're not about to come for that funeral sheet cake. You're not about to do that. You're not about to take that funeral sheet cake away from us. That is near and dear to the cross.
Yes, bringing us closer to the cross.
Listen, you're not going to take that repast fried chicken. No, you're not. No, you're not. It's something about that fried chicken.
It just tastes different. It just hit different.
You can't find it nowhere else. They don't use no gloves, maybe no hairnet, but you're not going to touch But you are absolutely right. And don't come for the outlets Waffle House. I mean, the waffles are whole
You
grain.
know, I wasn't gonna say nothing.
It
I
was
wasn't gonna say nothing.
they're whole grain, a little oily, but it's don't.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh. It's a little protein in there with the bacon. I'll let y'all have that.
Eggs. It's all-star breakfast with top quality. Anyway.
Yes.
Okay, I got you.
So that is what I've always seen. And of course, when I was younger, we've taken all the free food, all of the opportunities to get something after service, take the cake, take everything. But as I've gotten older and more ingrained in the wellness space, it has been something that concerns me, especially when I see so many, especially in the communities of color, Black community, dying at early ages from lifestyle related diseases that could be prevented. And I feel like many churches don't talk about it enough of how are we taking care of ourselves physically so that we can continue to do the work and take care of ourselves spiritually.
You are, I mean, hit it right on the head today. So I want to just kind of in this next phase here is just kind of open the floor to you just to share from your heart and really in continuation with our wholeness series. Just whatever you've kind of prepared or whatever you believe is necessary for us to kind of get a game plan together, plan of action, maybe some understanding of fitness and nutrition, especially before we go into the holidays and really beginning to cultivate a style of health so that, as you said, we can, we only get one body. So how can we maximize this one body? So the floor is all yours, Ashley.
Thank you. So I don't want to inundate you all with too much of information that might not be useful for your day-to-day life. I really want to talk more on simple practices. I feel like, especially in the fitness space, and this may be a reason that many shy away from trying to do anything differently, is that there's so much information thrown out at you and so many different diets, so many different fitness techniques. And for someone who may not have any desire to do anything extravagant, it can definitely feel like you have to do all of that in order to have what's considered a healthy lifestyle. And that is completely not true. Healthy can be something different for everybody. But ultimately, it's how can you show up as your best self on the inside and outside. And helping yourself on the outside can help everything that's going on in the inside. So one of the biggest things that right now that I'm focusing on with clients, with anyone that I'm interacting with, as we are nearing the end of the year, first thing I want to bring up before we get into anything changing with your kitchen routine, with your fitness, is schedule your doctor's appointments. If you haven't already, we live in a place where if you have insurance, you have a free physical every year. I hope you all are maximizing that. If you're not going to your doctors on a regular basis all the time, at least make sure you get your physical so that you know what your stats are, what your numbers are. A physical will give you blood work as well, a full panel, so you know where to start and what needs to be worked on. As I had talked about earlier, I didn't have the outward appearance of anyone that may have had a medical condition. So had I not been going to the doctor on a regular basis, I would have never known that I had hypertension. It's called a silent killer for a reason. So make sure that, not to scare anyone, but always, I feel like in our communities, we sometimes are nervous about going to the doctors because we don't want to know what's up. But the more you know ahead of time, the more that you can work to prevent. All of these things are definitely any lifestyle diseases, heart disease, hypertension, type 2 diabetes. There's all things that can be done to to prevent them, eliminate them, or make it something that is not going to be detrimental to your health long term. So first things first, if you haven't already, get your doctor's appointments for next year scheduled before their books fill up for the beginning of the year. All right. After that, I want to give you all a simple strategy that I utilize for all of my clients, and then we'll talk through some holiday tips and things to do as we go into this fourth quarter, this season of giving and good food. So 4, 3, 2, 1 is what I want you to keep in mind. And I'm going to go ahead and put this up on the screen so you can have a visual of this strategy. So give me a thumbs up if you can see this on the screen. All right. So 4, 3, 2, 1 is a simple strategy that I like to share with my clients on the onset so that anything wellness related doesn't seem overwhelming. So 4 represents taking 4 breaks to walk throughout the day. The time frame that you go on those walks can vary based on whatever your schedule is, but find 4 opportunities throughout the day to go for a walk. That can clear your mind. It also helps with digesting your food, just flushing your lymphatic system. So getting around, moving. It's been known that 7,000 to 10,000 steps a day is kind of the sweet spot for helping our cardiovascular system and being able to help prevent any diseases, particular diseases, heart-related diseases from coming on. And they are also recently identified that is helpful for dementia and Alzheimer's as well. Number 3, 3 bottles of water. Drink 3 bottles of water a day. It doesn't matter the size. I'm sure many of you have heard about drinking a gallon of water a day. That is, of course, an optimal goal, but it is not a one-size-fits-all thing. If you've only been drinking 8 ounces of water per day, trying to jump to a gallon of water a day is going to be a challenge, and you're going to be in the bathroom all day. You're going to be like, I'm over this. I don't want to do this anymore. So we are not going to the extreme. And then 2 servings of fruit. Again, all of these things are kind of basic, and you can plug and play the things that you like. I don't like to give people too many restrictions or prescriptions that they feel like this is not going to be fun. So 2 servings of fruit. That can be whatever fruit that you enjoy. It could be a banana, some mango, strawberries, guava, whatever your heart's desire. Just find 2 servings of fruit a day. That goes towards the nutrients, that vitamins, minerals, all those things that your body craves and needs. And then 1 big salad. If you're not a big vegetables person, if you struggle to fit vegetables in within all of your meals, having 1 big salad per day can kind of knock out that goal for everything. And salads, you can throw anything into them. It doesn't have to be the boring salad that they give you at the restaurant with just some lettuce, tomatoes, and cucumbers. We're in a season of abundance when it comes to squash and zucchinis and peppers and all of those things. So finding different ways to incorporate pretty much any ingredient that you like, toss it into a salad. Try to avoid the cream-colored dressings. Go for more of your lighter colors or vinaigrettes. But a big salad can be something that is filling, but also nutritious for you. So that strategy is kind of what I want you to put in the back of your mind for a high-level view of starting day 1 of how do I, try to live a healthy lifestyle. Start there if you haven't started anywhere else. Then we can build from that point. Make sense? Any questions there? I want to make sure this is kind of interactive, engaging. Ask any questions throughout. I would love to cover any other areas that you all might have there. So moving from that, and Vince, feel free to stop me if anything does come up that that's not on the Zoom that I don't see. All right, so from there, we're going to talk about the holidays. It is that time of year where it can easily go from one event to every single day we are out at a function, enjoying foods, appetizers, football is on. We got something in our hands, no matter what it is, just because it's nearby. So a few things to keep in mind for the holidays, for football season, for all of these events. Control what you can control. So if you already know in advance what is up for the week, say you're traveling, or say you know that you're headed to these events this week, control all the things that you can. You don't know, you might not know what foods are going to be there, but you know what you can prepare for in advance. So typically I would say if I'm going to maybe a holiday dinner, a holiday party in the evening, make sure you've eaten a healthy breakfast and something, prioritizing protein, which we'll talk on that in a little bit, healthy breakfast beforehand. Don't hold all of your food and be hungry just to get to that event, because then you're going to want to overindulge because you haven't had anything to eat the whole day. So prep yourself in advance, have a light snack before you go so you're not starving and running straight to the food table as soon as you arrive. Control those things that you know that you can in those moments. If you're traveling, that means potentially preparing a few things in advance, having some snacks on you. So one, you're not spending extra money at the airport with high priced foods, or extra money at the convenience store with foods that probably are not as nutritious as what you have at home. So cooking at home, preparing at home, that's one of the biggest savers in terms of not only calories, but just nutrition, is just eating your own food at home in advance whenever you're able. So that's rule number one. The second thing, remember, it is just one day in terms of holidays. It is just one day, not an entire season. So we have Thanksgiving. When Thanksgiving's over, let's move on and go back to our regular strategy. We can have our day after leftovers, but by about day 3, we should be putting those away and moving back into our regular routine. Same with Christmas. There's Christmas parties, there's all of these other things leading up to it. So remember what each day is, and try not to let everything turn into a whole 12 weeks of us going above and beyond, and then creating a little bit of a deeper hole, depending on what your goal is come January. So think about Christmas. If you have this one thing that you really enjoy, say grandma's sweet potato pie, which was my thing. I'm going to eat that sweet potato pie. But all the other things that are there, you don't have to try them just because they're there. If it's not something that you really, really are craving, save it for something that you really like. Vince, you smiling. I want to know what's that one thing? Anybody else put it into the chat too?
It's not one thing. That's why I'm smiling. I'm like, what do you mean that one thing? I crave it all. What are we talking about? Like the whole table. Like I'm like, okay, I'm gonna put this double chocolate cake on this red velvet cake, and then I'm gonna slide this banana pudding right here next to this,
and have a whole cake sandwich.
Exactly. And then I'm gonna lay that piece of ice cream right there in the middle, like they're all worshiping the scoop around it. So talking about this one thing, I'm like, no, I feel like it's my responsibility to try at least all the desserts that I readily identify. Now, some stuff, like you can't try everything if you don't know what it is, but if I can identify it, but then that's why I'm looking how I'm looking. So that's why you on here and I'm listening.
To tell, yeah.
Because I'm trying way too much, too long. Mm-hmm.
Oh my goodness. Sade says the same thing. Okay, so the sweets are the challenge. Let's spread those out.
No. call that a second challenge. The first challenge is the fact that the Lord has come up with this thing called a smoked turkey. See, I liked the turkey when it was baked, but when I discovered that it could be smoked, it was a whole new world.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry. I'm about to start preaching about all these different cuisines. I'm sorry, y'all. Y'all came to get the righteous words of Ashley, and I'm about to tell y'all about what I get.
About the smoked turkey and recipes. And I'll tell you. So on that turkey,
Mm-hmm.
I would love for everyone when you're preparing your Thanksgiving plate, the largest items on your plate, let it be the meat and let it be whatever vegetables. If that's collards, kale.
Does the canned cranberry sauce that count?
No. That does not count as your serving of fruit for the day. I know you're gonna try to slide that in there. No. No. Your 2 servings, no. 2 scoops of that cranberry sauce, no. 2 slices of that cranberry sauce, no. Mm-mm. Mm-mm. So unless it is fresh cranberries that you got from the garden, we're not doing that. All right. So turkey, ham, whatever meats you have, prioritize your meats and prioritize your vegetables over everything else on the plate. Let the other items be an accessory to your proteins and your vegetables. Protein is one of our biggest macronutrients, which macronutrients are our proteins, our carbohydrates, and our fats. Protein is one of the biggest ones that we are usually deficient in when it comes to consumption. It is easy to find carbs and fats all over the place. And everybody loves to demonize carbs, but carbs are not the enemy. It is the quantity of everything that you consume that can create a problem when it comes to that. Carbs are easy to eat in excess because they're not filling, as opposed to protein, which is very satiating. So it makes you feel fuller for a longer period of time. Protein is also very essential when we're thinking about longevity and being healthy for a lifetime. Protein is essential for bone health and repairing those muscles. So as we're getting older, we have, especially for women, osteoporosis is a thing to think about. So having more protein in your diet is very important for making sure that our bones are strong. We're not prone to fall if we ate too much at the table and lean back into the chair. We're not going to fall and break a bone. All right. Having more protein in our diet. The carbs and the fats kind of are secondary to that thing, because they're going to be at the table regardless. You're going to have those sweet potatoes. You're going to have the cranberry sauce. You're going to have all of the fixings, the stuffing. That's all going to be there. So your carbs and your fats are pretty easy to find, but protein is always something that we want to make sure that we're consuming in higher quantities than you may think. All right. And then keep moving. So during this season, it's easy to go over to families' houses, hang out at watch parties for games, and we're all just sitting around, hanging around. Find some way to make a game out of something. Maybe you have a football game with the family outside during the game's halftime or after dinner. Find some way to keep active. Go for a family walk after you all have your meals. That again helps settle your food, but it's also an excellent opportunity for some family time and just some communion amongst each other. So not making it feel like it's a chore, but just finding a way to keep some activity in your days. And then in terms of setting your plates and setting the tables for these bigger meals for Thanksgiving, an easy way I like to think of it as we have willpower, but willpower isn't necessarily the thing that it's better to kind of eliminate the need to utilize willpower, because it's not always something that's going to be there when you need it. So eliminating those distractions, setting the table, set the food either in another room than where you all are actually dining, or on a different side of the table, so that that plate of your favorite mac and cheese is not sitting right in front of you for you to just grab another scoop as soon as you finish your plate. That smile right there. I'm hitting somebody's somebody's point right there, pain point right there. So think about that. Set it far away. It is out of sight, out of mind. And then it's not just a mindless, I'm grabbing food just to grab it. Questions? Anyone want to challenge and find a way to sneak in their favorite things during this holiday season? It's definitely feasible. It's definitely doable. Again, I want you to always just think about these three things. I call them the 3 Ps. Plan ahead. So plan your meals, whether that is you are prepping your meals in advance for the week, knowing that you have this thing going on later, or just because you know it's going to be a busy week. Planning your meals ahead so you're not inclined to go out and try to grab something, or not inclined to overindulge at these events, or even just writing down your plan. I know meal prepping can be something that is overwhelming for some, or if it's not, cooking isn't your thing. But just having a plan of knowing this is what I'm eating for the week, this is what I want, whether you prepped it in advance or not, you at least have a game plan. For your fitness, scheduling a workout. Workouts do not have to be an hour long. They don't have to be any particular type of exercise. The best exercise is the one that you enjoy and the one that you can stick with. So whether that be yoga, whether that if you enjoy going to the gym, weight training, strength training is always something that I highly recommend, not just because I enjoy it, but I love being stronger than everybody at the table. But I also know that the stronger you are, the less likely, again, of injury, as we're getting older, when we think about all of those things. So scheduling your workouts, put it on your calendar so you don't forget about it. And that if anybody reaches out to you like, hey, I need help with this, can you come help clean the collards? Like, no, I got the workout. I have this workout on my calendar. I'll be over there after, I finish this. So have that plan, have that strategy. It's also an easy way to get out of something you might not actually want to help with. All right. And then again, if you're traveling, if you're headed to your family's house and maybe you're going to a small town that you already know you are not going to have a ton of options when it comes to healthy eating. One, have a general idea of what restaurants are around you. So you already know in advance, or if it's a favorite restaurant that you know you want to get to, plan that in, but also bring snacks so you don't have to, again, eat those expensive airport foods or convenience store food. Have some snacks in the car if you're doing a road trip, just to make sure that you are well prepared. And again, those snacks, protein is always the rule to go for me. You could have some jerky. That's an easy transportable snack. If you're in the car and away from anybody else, boiled eggs are a great option. But again, if you are by yourself and not with anybody else, we do not want to stink up the car on a long road trip. Ultimately, just think of, when we're thinking of what we can prioritize and what we can eat more of, always think of what you can add, not just what you're going to eliminate. So I've been preaching this whole time, prioritize this, add protein, add vegetables. I don't want you to think about, I can't have this, I can't do that. Just more of what can I add to that? So say you're getting that second helping of mac and cheese. Did you add, think about some, those greens that were on the table or those other vegetables, to add those in just to feel fuller longer, but also to get those nutrients into your system. So first P was plan ahead. That second P was prioritize protein. Third P is pace yourself. Pace yourself when it comes to your eating. So eating slowly, engaging in conversation throughout your meals, that helps you digest your food better, but also keep you from eating to be stuffed, because your mind does not know that it is full. Your body and your mind are not in sync when it comes to you eating. It needs a little time to catch up. So for you to eat a little bit slower, pace yourself, have conversation, you'll know when you're full quicker, and then won't get that feeling where you got to unbutton some pants in order to be comfortable. And then pace yourself in terms of knowing that this is a lifestyle change. This is not a quick fix that we're targeting. All right. You don't have to change everything that you do all in one day. Again, that 4-3-2-1 strategy is a great way just to start implementing some changes. But my goal here is not for you to take away, I need to do this, I need to work out, I need to schedule every single 4 to 5, 6 workouts next week and make sure those happen. I need to do this, I need to do that. No, I want you to pick a couple of things that you know are doable to change, or just to add, and then go from there. I've been reading first right now, the 12-week year. And this is something that I think is a great tool strategy to potentially use for anything that we do. So consider your goals with your wellness, with your nutrition, with your fitness. Consider something that you can focus on for 12 weeks. Just one thing or two things. Very simple, not something that you think is going to take longer than 12 weeks to reach, but not something that you think will only take like 2 weeks to get there. Think of one goal that you can focus on for 12 weeks. And then after that time has passed, reassess and focus on the next thing, so that you're dipping away and chipping away at things every 12 weeks in order to get to a better you, and even further along by the time you're at the end of the next year or the next quarter or whatever it is. All right. Questions, more? I think I gave y'all a lot of things to think about and do. So I want to see if we can get questions or go a little bit deeper in any of those areas.
So what we're going to do is we're going to transition to what we're calling our Outlet Unplugged, where we're going to stop the live stream, and you all can get honest with your questions. If you're watching on Facebook, I've seen some of you on Facebook, others of you on YouTube, others of you on our online campus. You can join us on Zoom. The ID is 444-423-830. Again, that's 444-423-830 if you want to join us for really an unscripted, off the air, off the record Q&A session with Ashley, just to kind of unpack all of the information that she gave. One thing I love about Ashley, and I'll tell a funny but yet quick story. So I would say I didn't know who Ashley was until maybe sometime at the beginning of this year, but I met Ashley maybe 2.5 years ago. And so I met Ashley. You know how people, when they're really trying to say, Vince, you're fat, but they say it nicely, like, hey, why don't you come up work out with me? And so I had that. I had a nice accountability partner saying, hey, why don't you come work out with me? But the only thing about people who do those kind of things is that they go with people who actually work out. So if you can imagine somebody inviting me, and this is me 34, 35, almost 40 pounds heavier than I am today, going out to an outdoor workout because it was in the middle of the pandemic, and it was a bunch of folk who looked like Ashley and a bunch of other folk who looked like they just got done playing in the NFL. And they were going through all these workouts. And I mean, they were jumping over the little hurdles. They were doing the quick feet, battle ropes, stadiums. Y'all, I was dying. Like, I thought that was like my wife was just going to have to find me outside, face down somewhere. And this sweet young lady came up to me and she said, you're doing great. You're doing fine. You're going to make it. And, me, not knowing where I'm at, I'm like, I am going to make it. But I remembered Ashley's encouraging words, doing something I hadn't done before, trying something new, but it was her encouragement then. And now just hearing the other side with the nutrition and everything, just how you shared everything tonight. Thank you for being that encouraging voice that lets us all know that we are going to make it. So for those, again, who are online, we're going to sign off from our live stream and be strictly here on our Zoom platform. Again, 444-423-8330. Thank you all for being with us tonight. And we look forward to seeing you all on next week. All right.